with myself, Harry13, and your other well-known Pioneer representative, Claudio.
Hi, it's Claudio MTG here.
How you doing? How's things, Claudio?
Yeah, things are doing fine here, man. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Not gonna lie though, I've not had the best results in the challenges the past 2 weeks. I've been playing Phoenix, despite the deck being very good. I've not had amazing results with it, and but yeah, overall fine. So today we're essentially going to, discuss, first of all, like briefly talk about the podcast and what we want to do with it, what we're going to talk about most weeks, and then we'll deliver our analysis of the metagame and see where it's going forward.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to?
Basically, like we are going to take a look at we're just going to do this like every couple weeks, and we're going to take a look at the relevant events, see if anything interesting pops up, see if we can identify some trends in the metagame, and like just give advice for people looking to compete in the highest level.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we really wanted to give our listeners a kind of competitive take on Pioneer, and we wanted to try and analyze where Pioneer is and where it's going as best as we can, just so that you can all have a good understanding of what to expect on any given weekend, so you can prepare your strategies and decide on your decks accordingly. So, should we start with our first topic today, Claudio?
Yeah, that's good.
So basically, let's discuss like the meta game, the challenge results, and discuss where we are and what it looks like going forward. So what interesting developments have you found?
Yeah, looking at the past results from the last 2 weeks, we can see that Phoenix has continued to be popular. I wouldn't say that the deck is overperforming or taking over, but it's definitely very well represented in top 16s of both tournaments.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
but you still see a very diverse meta with some like a lot of decks doing well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. If we look at the challenges that happened the weekend just there, we can see that Phoenix placed on Saturday event. Phoenix placed 4 copies of Phoenix in the top 16, and 3 of them were in the top 8, I believe.
Three in the
And
top 8, yeah.
yep, and then on Sunday we had 5 copies in the top 16 with 2 in the top 8, I believe.
Yeah.
So to me, that's I think we've been spoiled with the last metagame. The last metagame from last season before Innistrad, where we never really had a pattern of one specific deck showing up with more numbers than others. I think we're now beginning to see, in my opinion, beginning to see Phoenix pop up just a little bit more than the rest of the field. I mean, Phoenix has won challenge the last Sunday's challenge, and it won the challenge this Sunday as well. So I mean, it's definitely doing well. Nothing too concerning. However, like it is something that we
Yeah,
should
like it's
bear in
ahead
mind.
above of the other decks at least right now, at least in terms of how well it's represented.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, and I
bit
think.
it's a bit difficult at times to distinguish between like the deck being extremely popular and it's just being that like extremely good. We don't have those numbers, but we can only guess that it's a mix of both here.
I think so. I think I mean, last season I've been playing blue, black control strategies for quite a while now, and when I picked up the Phoenix deck, I definitely felt like it had it had the feeling I had when I played Inverter, in the way that I just felt like it was slightly better, in my opinion, than the other decks on average. And I feel like when I'm playing leagues or playing events now, I feel like, yeah, my win rate isn't as high as it could have been, but I feel like that's because people are aggressively trying to hate out the deck, so to speak, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still managing to put up the wins regardless. So that tells me the deck's very powerful.
And like people are starting to adapt, but you still see a lot of confusion about how the Phoenix deck works. Like people don't like don't know how to play against Jace post boards. They think Rest in Peace is going to solve all their problems.
Yeah,
And like people still have like to learn how to properly play against the deck with like whatever deck they're playing. But like things are in a nice spot here. It's pretty interesting.
yeah, I agree. I think there's still a lot of people playing level one sideboard plans against Phoenix when they should really think a little bit deeper now because I mean a lot of players like myself are more than prepared for graveyard hate post board, and I think you know that's something that people need to think from the Phoenix players' perspective, and I don't think enough players do. That's why you still get a lot of free wins with the deck, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Good for people that are playing Phoenix. Bad for the rest. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, obviously, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago that we felt like Phoenix was the deck to play and the deck to beat in the format going forward, and in my opinion, it still seems that way. However, there's other interesting strategies we can talk about. I mean, I think people are realizing that with Burn, like Burn's been making some top appearances again, basically on the back of the fact that it's pretty good against Phoenix. I don't think
Yep.
it's I don't think it's insanely good, but I mean, anytime I played against Burn, I felt like I was on the back foot.
And
And
that's
my
like just a good place to be, right? If you have a slight advantage against the most popular deck.
yeah, I agree with that
Yeah, so
because
can we go over the challenge?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
So
so we have like an aggregate here of like the representation by archetype of the challenges. We're not going to read that out because it's going to get tedious, but I'm going to post this alongside the video later so you can follow along as you listen.
sounds good.
Um, so on Saturday, we like the challenge was won by Burn,
Yeah.
and I think it's a fairly stock list from what I'm seeing here. You don't see that many changes in Burn these days.
No.
It's
No,
pretty
it's
stock. They're playing
yeah.
Soulguide Lantern in the sideboard, which is a bit different. Sometimes you don't see that.
Yeah, it's a slight modification, but the good thing about Soulgate Lantern is it's a low cost um sideboard card to play that could have strong
Yep.
impacts on the game depending. It still triggers prowess, 1 mana, it's
Hmm.
very efficient, can, cycle while still potentially snagging a Phoenix.
Because as I as we always say, like Soulguide Lantern is not the best against Phoenix because it's not going to stop them, but it slows them down, and that's maybe what Burn needs to do. Like if you can slow them down a couple turns, it's enough to kill them
Yeah,
because they're playing
exactly.
a super aggressive deck.
Exactly. You're normally a turn faster with Burn against the Phoenix deck. So yeah, I think Soulgate Lantern is kind of what you want to do. And
Hmm.
obviously Chain to the Rocks can be potentially impactful, Nothing don't really know how to rate Chain to the Rocks against Phoenix. Obviously it gets rid of the Phoenix, but Searing Blood does that. However, Thing and Ice is a real problem, so Chain to the Rocks
Yeah,
kind of helps
I
solve.
think Phoenix has to try to raise you, right? Because they can't gain life and they're pretty weak against the
Yeah.
burn spells.
Yeah,
So maybe
exactly.
just having the ability to kill Thing in the Eyes for 1 mana, it's enough.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Okay, so yeah, nothing much to talk here. Like I think we think that burn is good against Phoenix, and it shows here by winning the challenge.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then second place
except
as well.
uh-huh.
That's another. From experience, I feel like this blue white control deck has a favorable matchup against Phoenix. Phoenix has a deal hard time dealing with cards like Dovin's Veto.
Mm.
You've got Settle the Wreckage main, um,
Narcets, right?
Narsets, and Teferi Hero of
Even like
Dominaria.
a resolved Shark Typhoon's pretty hard to beat in my experience.
Yeah, yeah, you're normally just not quite fast enough to deal with all these win cons that the blue white control deck has.
Yeah.
So yeah, this matchup feels. I've just had such. I lost it twice in the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Got paired against it round one and round two, and I just felt like game one was real. Mhm.
And this has something like this is the nightmare deck for Phoenix because it has Narset and Rest in Peace, so it's going to attack you on both fronts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And this has something that I really like. This deck is only playing one copy of Deep Through Time and three copies of Memory Deluge because that works really well when you're sideboarding into Rest in Peace. So you can just swap the Digital Time for the Rest in Peace and something else, and it's not going to hurt you virtually like in any aspect, right?
Yeah, and the thing I like about this deck as well is it should have a good Phoenix matchup, but it should also have a good matchup against strategies that are trying to beat Phoenix, aka Burn. I feel like cards like Sunset Revelry have really made a difference for blue white control.
Yeah.
They now have a really strong card to play against Burn, whereas before, if when I played Burn like a year or so ago, when I tried out blue white control, I always felt like if I won the dice roll, I would feel like slightly ahead, but if I lost the dice roll, it felt very difficult due to the fact that you don't have like 1 mana removal spells in this strategy. But having Sunset Revelry gives you a great card to come back from behind. You know, 4 life plus making creatures and drawing a card is just insane. You're
Yeah,
not going to draw a card, but like
it just helps you to get to the verdict turn without like get like on turn 4 I'm already dead before casting the verdict.
yeah, exactly.
So you can just like buy time. That's exactly what the blue white deck needs. I feel very confident playing against Burn now that I have this card.
Yeah, and you know, I might delve into playing blue white control going
The
forward. I
only
think
thing that I would like to see here is to cut the Kahira because I think the card is very useless to play like a impactful sideboard creature like Green Trawler. I think
yeah,
it will go a long way.
I played against Musasabi and they got me with Monastery Mentor. Um
Hmm.
and I think I don't know, I'm kind of one of those kind of weird players that I think like if you reveal Kahira, I almost feel like it gives you some sort of like it makes it easier for your opponents to go right. They're only playing blue white control. I can like
Yeah, like people already know
mulligan
what kind of
accordingly.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got removal spells in my hand. Well, I'm going to mulligan this hand into something that can, better fight a control deck. Whereas if you're not revealing a Kihira, then,
It could
you
be anything. Yeah,
your
could be
game
even
one
Phoenix.
exactly your game one changes by maybe a few percentage points, and then post board you have access to better answers.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So, yep, like the
Okay.
deck, like what it's doing. I can understand why
Yeah.
it's doing well.
Moving on here to third and fourth place, we have 2 copies of Phoenix. Like that's pretty good. One of the best. I don't see anything very different.
No, I think
Uh, one of them is playing Sprite Dragons in the sideboard instead of Jace. A more aggressive threat.
mhm. I'm not really sure about Sprite Dragon, to be honest. I've not really been overly impressed with it. I think um, the fact that like the control decks are playing an uncounterable Wrath, it just kind of plays into it. And I think Jace is kind of it gives you a different angle. Like I always like changing up the angles in the sideboard. Like you're predominantly a creature-based deck, and you're playing at sorcery speed, and then you've not really changed anything post board. Like you're still having the
Mhm.
same game plan, but like I don't know. I'm not a fan of Sprite Dragons. This is Oscar Danielakos. They've been playing Phoenix. They're a Phoenix one like
Since
try hard.
forever, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
since
yeah,
before
yeah,
like the deck got a big boost.
yeah,
Yeah, and the other one is playing Sprite Dragon and Young Pyromancer. They're playing like a lot of Kraken Drake, so their deck is their sideboard is a lot of exit threats. A
yeah.
lot of them
That's
are creatures, which is kind of what I agree with you. I would like to see like Planeswalkers in the sideboard as threats.
yeah. Like that's why I was trying to Sahili, like Sublime Artificer, because it gives you you can't really kill the creature threat easily, and it
Mm.
recovers very fast. Like one of the main reasons I play that card is good at in the meta when you're trying to play around a resolved thing. Nice. It's also very good against control decks because you can recover very quickly after a board wipe at instant speed.
Mhm.
And it can copy Phoenixes, it can copy Crackling Drake, whatever. So it's just I prefer like the 3 mana Planeswalker over cards like
Yeah,
Young Pyromancer. Um,
yeah, I
I can
like Sahili
understand.
quite a bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah, moving
I
on here, we have. Do you want to talk about something?
No, I was going to say, I think how we should lay this out, we should probably just focus on the top 8 of each challenge, the deck lists,
Oh
and
yeah,
go
I
through
think
them.
so.
Yeah, I
And
think.
if you have anything that you think is interesting, like in the top 16, we can talk about that after
Yeah,
the
of course.
topic.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on here, we have the hero of the masses, Ladon again with Gru.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like we're going to see this person every weekend playing Gru and smashing with it. They made top 8 in both challenges with Gru. I don't know
Well,
I don't know how they do it, but like they're doing it. There's no question.
well, they
Feed
must be
them
doing something.
creatures with Timber Cliffs.
They must be doing something right, because I noticed that on the Sunday, Sam Rolfe also decided to play the list, and
Yeah.
I don't think Sam is the kind of player that would pick up a list for the sake of it. I think there has to be something there. So
I think I see
there must be
this a
something
lot,
there.
right? Like people start to think that this guy or like this person is doing well every weekend. There must be something to it, and like other people are going to start to try it. So
Yeah.
at some point, other people are going to be intrigued and like to try this deck. I played a bunch against this already.
Yeah, me too. I
And
played against it. I think X File also played. I think I played them in a league literally today, playing the exact deck. And
yeah.
it was, I don't know,
Yeah,
I felt like
I
it was,
just have to say that Medium Mortars with Overload is sometimes super disgusting.
yeah,
Like
Mizium.
this deck is playing 4 copies.
I think Mizium Mortar is an interesting choice, and I can see why. Like, Thing and Ice is so prevalent in this format, and I think it's one of the best. I think Thing and Ice is one of the best creatures in the format right now, and it's just a very clean answer to it with
Yeah,
potential
honestly, I
upside.
can see this deck being somewhat good against Phoenix if you can deal with the Phoenix because you have a lot of beefy creatures that can outrace a Phoenix pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there. This is the Phoenix killer, maybe.
Oh well, I hate to say it, but I beat it quite comfortably today. But who knows? I'm not humble brags and all that. But yeah, no, the deck it looks very interesting. And
Yeah, it looks okay at the very least, right?
yeah, exactly. And Batutinha was also playing it in a league.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of players. I mean, this
So,
wow, I just realized this player's been like
yeah,
what?
they're crushing. They're crushing with this.
Yeah, wow, okay,
It's
okay.
it's not
3 challenge top 8s within the past 2 weeks.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow, okay. Yeah, no, that's really good.
Okay, moving on to sixth place, we have like my favorite deck of the weekend.
Oh,
Like
the sewer.
just black white sewer, like
Yeah.
the Yorion deck. It's black white Yorion with a bunch of enchantments and interaction. Thought says fatal push,
Dirty,
and
deck.
yeah, and it's using the new card from Innistrad, Rights to Oblivion. This is a card that no one talked about for the most part. Like
Yeah.
we most list this as a like a limited card. Like it's a 2 mana card that has flashback for 4 that you can sacrifice a permanence to exile a non permanent.
Oh yeah, this
So
card
like
slaps.
this deck is using cards like Oath of Kaya, Omen of the Sun, Treacherous Blessing to use as fodder for this. And like the card is really strong against Phoenix because it can just exile everything. Like I guess it's just a really strong removal spell despite being a sorcery.
Yeah, no, this deck looks very interesting. I know you've been playing it for a while. And
I already like iterated a bunch on this deck, and my version looks very different now. But like I was impressed with how reasonable the just black white shit pile was. I thought this
yeah,
deck was going to be super bad, but it was actually pretty good.
good enough that you'd play it for another challenge. Good or
Oh yeah, I think I'm going to take my version to this challenge
oh well,
to this weekend for sure.
you better send it my way, because I might also do the same. I think
Oh yeah.
that yeah, I think as much as I love playing Phoenix right now, I'm thinking there's a lot of hate going around, and maybe it's time for me to sleeve up something else. And this looks pretty tasty.
Yeah, like and this deck is very good against Phoenix in my opinion because you have like access to Gold Blank, Rest in Peace. Deafening Silence.
Yeah.
I'm playing the Elspeth Conquers Death. Like you can have like the removal spell, the Rite of Oblivion is really good against the Phoenix threats. I think
Yeah.
this deck's pretty good.
Yeah, it seems like it should potentially be reasonable against Burn as well. I'm noticing there's a Revelry missing. I think you probably might need that as well. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, you have the Birth of Meletis and Oath of Caius to gain life, so it's okay.
I'm not sure it's enough in a Euron deck, but yeah, no, you could be right. And you've got
Like my list right now is playing Talia's Lancers package, so you can go find Kalitas and Lyra.
Nice. I like that as well.
You have some tasty targets.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at your list, Claudio. But yeah, this deck is definitely very interesting. I think it's something that I'm definitely
I
want to
think
explore.
this is a good example of why you shouldn't like dismiss decks without at least trying to play them once, because I was very red to dismiss this, but like I took the chance to play it and I was really impressed. Like there's something here, so
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely a one of the coolest decks you're going to see this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully we can pilot it to more success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So in seventh place you have Blunt Spirits, like one of the mainstays of the format.
Yeah, this is
Mhm.
Oscar Christensen's list. Very good player, top 8 at a PT. A friend of mine, and yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how good
it's
this deck is against Phoenix. I can see it being excellent, to be honest.
it just depends, right? It's very draw dependent. Normally, like if you can't answer the Mausoleum Wanderer turn one, it can get really dicey. And yeah, like a well-timed Skyclave apparition can be
Yeah,
devastating.
that looks pretty interesting. Like you can see this player is playing 4 between the main and the sideboard.
Yeah, I think you have to, right? I think it's for Thing Ice. Thing
Like,
Ice is so
uh-huh.
brutal.
And Narcon of the Media looks like a great tool as well.
Yep.
Yeah, but I can see like this being somewhat reasonable against Phoenix because the fires get huge pretty fast.
Yep.
And yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, and then eighth place you have Phoenix again, like rounding out the top 8. This one is playing more of a stat list with Jace in the sideboard.
Yeah,
And
there's.
Eternal Scourge, Entrancing Melody.
I don't really understand the Entrancing Melody, to be honest. Like, I don't really like.
From what I hear, the deck is very terrible again. Like Voodoo Cat was talking about this. This deck is pretty terrible against Ensoul. So they're playing the Melody to steal their Steel Citadel for cheap.
I'm not really. I can see that, but I don't really feel like. I don't really feel like that makes a massive difference. But yeah, I mean, Gold Cat's
And
also a very good
it
player.
might be fine in the mirror. I don't know. I probably not because you can still think in the eyes. I think that's
Like
a
4 mana.
bit narrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like
he was talking about this in the context of playing it against Ensoul because he thinks the matchup is really bad.
I mean, I think again, it's one of these matchups where if you land a thing in ice early enough, completely changes the outlook in the game. From my experience, anyway, like a
Oh
well-timed
yeah, that's
thing.
definitely true. But like they have a portable host to answer that
Yeah,
usually in
true.
the main deck now, and they can find it pretty easily.
Yeah, I remember seeing a certain list that played 4 in the main. So, yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think that's it for the Saturday Solemn Challenge. We see a couple now. We notice like almost getting there.
Yeah, we see Watch Wolf 92 playing it and Patchy also playing it. Was this was on Saturday, yeah, because I also played against Patchy on Sunday with Nye midrange. Not totally convinced by the deck, to be honest. I feel like it's one of these decks that's always like nearly good enough and not quite. And it's kind of showing when you see a lot of top players not getting to the top 8, like both Watchwolf and Patchy not making top 8, kind of tells me that there's potentially something up with the deck that it's just not quite good enough. And you
Yeah,
see
like
if you like,
I still like Winota a lot. I think the deck is like on a new level now with the werewolves,
yeah,
but it's still like a Winota deck. Sometimes they're going to answer your Winota, and what you're doing is not powerful enough.
mm-hmm.
But it's definitely one of the top decks right now, I would say. So I think we can move to the Sunday one.
Yep, of course. So last week it was Daniel Akos, and this week it was Falcon, the winner with Phoenix once again.
Phoenix once again.
Yeah, I think anything interesting about this list? Not really. This is basically
Yeah, there's going to
again.
be a lot of like cut one of this card and not another one of these cards. Like this
Yeah.
player is playing one negate, one is a charm instead of the two negates in the main deck.
I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. I don't really understand splitting like that. Like I think you either play two charm or two negates. Don't really get the one of each. I feel like I always feel like with this deck, I'm always on the side of two Izzet charms, but obviously it has diminishing returns. But I think you want a lot of ways to get phoenixes from your hand to the graveyard. And I think I've got my own reservations. I think you need to play 4 lightning due to the
Oh, there's
fact that
something interesting in this deck actually. This person is playing play with fire. Usually you see people playing a bunch of different 1 mana damage spells like Magma Spray and Fire Impulse.
yeah, the thing I like about play with fire over the other two is they're the most versatile because a lot of the time you have these spells like magma spray and fire impulse, and all you want to do is just cast them on it like the opponent or anything just to trigger the phoenixes or just like flip thing in the ice. So I definitely think like play with fire is a nice one because a lot of the time like it does give you some more agency against decks like burn where you are trying to race. So I definitely see why this player would have opted to play it. Is it a 4 of? I don't think so. I think the 2 damage is very narrow. I can see playing like 2 copies, two maybe 3, but I think I want the fourth lightning axe before I want the fourth play with fire personally. But yeah, no, it's an interesting lesson.
Yeah, especially if like some people start playing more of the Gru deck, I can see Lightning Axe
Yeah,
becoming like pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So nothing too special here. Like we're not going to delve too deep into the Phoenix list because most
No,
of them like are stock at this point.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
In second place we have Lardon again.
The
Drew.
absolute, the absolute
I
smasher.
think it's like the just the same list.
Yeah, it's the same list. There's nothing really to talk about with this list.
Nothing different.
No, just an absolute stellar deck to play.
Yeah.
We've got Hope of 130,
The blue
another
black.
person. Yeah, another blue black one trick, much like myself.
Playing quite interesting version of blue black, I must say, with no gear hooks and a lot more serpents.
There's a lot of interesting choices. I mean, I just don't understand the need to play Power Word Kill over. I mean, I'd probably rather play the unconditional.
Heartless acts, right?
I'd prefer just to play 4 Heartless Act before I played the first 2 Power Word Kills, or even play that new one that deals 2 damage, or like lose two
Yeah, I
life.
can understand not playing Inferno Grasp in blue black because you don't want to take damage, but I think
Yeah,
Forward Skill is just a bad card, right?
I think it's just not very good at all. I'm not a fan. It misses so many cards. Although saying that, Jund Citadel is essentially disappeared off the face of the earth. So cards like Corvold are less of an issue. But I'm not
It
really sure
doesn't
about.
kill Glorybringer though, the card
Yeah,
from
no,
Gro.
I'm not really sure about the numbers. There's so much removal in this deck.
Hmm.
They're playing like 2 Extinction Event, 2 Languish, 2 Power Word Kill, 2 Heartless
But
Act.
I don't think I mind that, to be honest. Like Pioneer is very creature focused right now. I think it's
Yeah.
fine to build a deck like this.
Mm. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Like I always have like my thoughts on how blue black's
Yeah.
configured, but yeah, I mean they finished third, so they must have done something right. They must have got a call
Yeah,
right. And
you see like the half one of half storm giants in the deck,
hmm
which is nice. There are shockings in the sideboard. And yeah, the one thing, and for Shark Typhoons, like this deck might have some trouble closing the game.
I think so as well. I was gonna say I think one Lochmere Serpent, four Typhoons, and one Hall of Storm Giants is not a lot of win cons to me. I think
I still think I like the Guru Hook more. It's like it's a
yeah,
pretty clunky card, but it's like
it's
very
just
powerful with the two time, right?
it's just a I just think it's a better card than Lochmere Serpent. Like you don't even have that many lands that you want to eat up with it. I don't know. I like Lochmere Serpent in some meta games. I mean, the Graveyard Hate is relevant, but I don't know. I always prefer me a good Gearhulk than to dig for time. Yeah. So interesting deck list. They've clearly done
Yeah, it's
well with
pretty
it.
nice. It's definitely nice to see like Blue Black Control show up because the deck was kinda it had kinda disappeared from the meta game, but you can still see some people doing well occasionally.
Yeah, I just think the issue with the deck is it's not the most straightforward deck to build, and I always think, like, even myself, like, probably never get it optimize it for any given weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it's got a kind of I don't think it's I think blue white control might just be the better strategy.
Uh-huh.
Out of the control decks, from my experience, I think right now like the Revelry card has just made a big difference. I think a lot of the decks that blue black, although I've always felt like blue black had a reasonable matchup against Phoenix. Burn's popular. Blue black has a very bad matchup against Burn. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sold on it. I think I
Yeah.
think I'd rather be playing blue white. Blue white has a better Phoenix matchup, a much better burn matchup. It's just generally good creature matchup, so that's what that's what I'd want to play, to be honest.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fourth
So
place here we have another deck that kind of disappeared for a while with a quite interesting build, Disguise Ascendancy.
yeah.
This deck is like it's playing Consider from the new set, but it's using Fave Wishes. So this deck is kind of built in the way that the old Omnath decks were built in some
Yeah.
sense. They're only playing two copies, so the you see like a fairly restrained wish board here.
Yeah.
They have like a Sylvan Awakening in the sideboard that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Werther, Treasure Cruise, a couple sweepers, Sunset Reverie,
Yeah.
Dovin's Veto, and a portable hole, and very interesting, a Thud, which is a 1 mana fling.
Yeah.
I think they have this because it's a way to kill the opponent without Sylvan Awakening. Like if you
Yeah, it
have a
makes sense.
Caryatid in play and you go off with only the Caryatid, you can just get the fling and kill your opponents, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, there was similar to like the Fair Wishes adventure deck in standard, right? You'd always have like
A fling, yeah.
flying or something, or not every deck had it, but most decks had it. So yeah, it makes sense to have that alt win con in there. Um, don't really know what to make of it, to be honest. Like I've always felt like
Yeah,
just
never played with this deck, so I don't have strong opinions on this.
yeah, I always felt like it relied on card draw too much, and therefore it was very weak to a lot of the incidental hate cards against Phoenix and graveyard hate as well. Like I don't know, I'm not really sure what to rate this deck. It's
Yeah,
interesting for sure.
to be fair, you see like here Escape to the Wilds and Expressive Iteration. So you have ways to get around like card draw, but I have no opinion on this deck. Like it's cool seeing it show up with an interesting build. I don't have too much to add about this.
No, me neither. It's cool. It's cool that it's still putting up some results, but yeah, nothing to say apart from that.
Yeah.
So the next one is Insole. Pretty stock list from what I can see.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Again, don't really have
Oh,
much
this
to
one this
say.
one is playing Fateful Absence. I was playing this challenge with Nave and the Fateful Absence was really good against me. I was not expecting that card. Like
Oh,
I had the board stabilized with the Neve as a blocker, and they just killed it, and
Mm-hmm.
I lost the game.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a card that, like, if you don't know your opponent has in their deck, it can be quite impactful, I think.
Yeah, and I played against this player quite a lot in leagues. I think they've been playing a lot of Enso. I think it's the
Hmm.
kind of default deck they play at the moment, which is fair enough. The deck's pretty strong, so. And
Yeah,
then
like. Mhm.
I was going to say that's pretty much it for that list.
Yeah, this is pretty stock. And
Yeah.
we can move on to the tasty one. In sixth place, we'll have
Yeah.
Watchwolf.
Watchwolf always loves an innovation. He's
Yeah, they're playing
never.
so, but their deck is pretty different.
Yeah, the Glint Nest Crane's an interesting one.
Yeah, they decided that Ingenious Meat was not good enough, so they wanted more copies.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
card's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I'm not
So
sure about it though, because it's Lindness Crane. It's a bit of a meme. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think Watchwolf always plays like interesting takes on lists. Like I was very skeptical of his blue black list that he managed to top eight with. Not sure how good deck builder they are, but they're obviously a very good player. So it's kind of hard to evaluate whether or not like they can get there with no, like a ham sandwich, or if they're just a level above everyone else in deck building.
Yeah, but they do something that I like a lot. It's just like testing new cards in your index, not like using the same list every time.
Oh yeah, definitely. I respect
Um,
innovation.
and I think I am somewhat of a fan of the sideboard. They're playing the 4 copies of Scrabbling Claws, and which is pretty good against Phoenix. Like when you are playing 4, you're going to see like 1 or 2 pretty early in the game, and if you can just get them down, it's going to hit the graveyard very well.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the better sideboard plans against Phoenix where you're not trying to like eliminate their graveyard, you're just trying to slow them down and
And
scrap them.
you see the 4 portable holes in this deck,
Yeah,
and in the other deck as well that we talked about before. So they're prepared to deal with Phoenix.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you see the one-off Iovecna, which is pretty tasty for grinding matchups.
Oh yeah, definitely. That card's really nice.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to talk about this one. It's like a pretty interesting take on the so
Yeah, it's
aspect.
interesting. I wonder if we'll see more people try to replicate it, or if it will just be a kind of flash in the pan. You know,
Hmm.
no idea. I mean, they've managed to top eight with it, so I mean, they've top eighted so many challenges recently. It's
Yeah,
insane.
they're just a very good player. So
Yeah, exactly.
totally
So
interesting to see what they're doing. In seventh place, we have Phoenix.
yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Nothing very different
There's
here.
no. This is a stock list. 4 10
Yeah.
of Scourge, but I mean, it's pretty stock. Venom one's a grinder. They
Hmm.
interesting. They're playing more Pioneer now.
And yeah. And in eighth place, we have the weird one from this challenge, which is
Oh,
Mono Blue Spirits.
the
Like
cringe
we,
deck.
I don't know how this deck got here. Do you have any any idea?
I think the player that played this obviously cheated and
Yeah,
scammed their opponents every round, because this deck should just not show up, in my opinion.
yeah. Like all your creatures died to Spike Field Hazard. Come on, what's happening here?
Exactly. No.
So yeah, uh, we don't think this deck is very good, but like, of course, the deck showed up. And this is like a deck that's really good in slow metas, and like
Yeah.
this is not one of them. Like you play the over the game very effectively,
Hmm.
but like this is not what Pioneer is about right now.
No, it's definitely not. And I think, I mean, but still put up the results. And then, yeah, that's it. Another thing I've noticed is no Rakdos. I mean, there's one in the top 16, but
Hmm.
people are just not high on that deck anymore.
Yeah, I think there's too much hate on Phoenix right now, and Rakdos can't handle the hate as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
Ragdoll steals with Graveyard Hate really badly.
Yeah. We see a copy of the Zombies deck that in the top 16 that some Wolf is playing with the Rally of the Ancestors deck, which is a cool one. The deck went for choose. It's pretty good score. And one copy of Jund. Like you see the deck popping up in spots here.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably like the only person playing Jund in the tournaments.
Yeah, I think Neko is a good player and they're very, very high on this deck, but I just don't think it's in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think that's like it for the challenges. Do you have like any observations?
Phoenix seems like the top dog right now, and until it stops putting up, I mean, these numbers are like 2 or 3 copies in every top 8 and winning every other event. I mean, till it stops doing that, I'm still in belief that it's the best deck. Will I play it this weekend? Maybe not. I just think it's going to get a lot of hate, and I'm very interested in this white-black Yorion deck.
Oh yes, I am as well. Like, yeah, and it's important to note as well, like in a month we are going to get a new set, so I'm very hopeful that we can get a spicy vampire deck again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we are moving into a vampire set now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's it for now. Like I wanted to touch on the fact that Haruri is having tournaments again, paper tournaments, and they're going to have a tournament called God of Pioneer in this month, I believe.
Okay.
And it's going to be like the biggest paper tournament since the pandemic. Basically, it's probably going to have like more than 100 players. So
Yeah,
after
it'll be good.
that one gets published, we are going probably going to talk about it.
Yeah,
Because like the
definitely.
Japanese players always get some spice in there, if you know what I mean.
Japanese players love a spice. It's never a straightforward metagame in Japan. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it for this week. I mean,
basically it. What would
so
you recommend?
the sewer. It has to be the sewer. Honestly, I feel like Phoenix is continually going to do well. I quite like the look of blue white control. Obviously, I tend to go towards control decks in general. However, Phoenix has been the exception. But given my experience against Phoenix, given my experience against blue white control, I think if you can get a good list for the weekend, that's something I would look at. Despite that, I think I'm going to play the black white deck. That I'm going to play your list, Claudio. I think. I just want to see how it plays out because it definitely looks like it could do some real damage in the format. It looks like it should have a decent control matchup as well because you have access to both Castle Lochthwain and Ardenvale.
And a bunch of creature lands as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like you could Cave of the Frost Dragon as well.
Oh, Cave of the Frost Dragon. I have not played a lot with that. I had not played a lot with that one before, and the card impressed me a lot. Like it's a 3/4 It's a very reasonable fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's better than just playing more Castle Ardenvales. That card's extremely good. That card is a control killer on its own, so I'd be tempted to play it.
You have space. You have space. You are playing the cards. You can play all of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would recommend Phoenix, Burn, and Blow White as well. Those look like to me like the best of the best right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think on power level, Phoenix is the best. However, I think it can be hated out. So, hard to say. But yeah, I think for sure it's going to be recommend blow out control from me, and I think Burn and Phoenix are the two other options. I think Phoenix overall is the best, but it might be too much hate going on for it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to add that I think like I played the Sunday challenge with Niv and I did pretty poorly because I tuned my deck very heavily to play against Phoenix and I got paired against and Soul twice and I lost. So
Yeah, that's kind
I
of
think
bad.
Navy is a pretty good deck right now, but as always, if you don't get your list right, you're just going to do very bad in the tournaments.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
I beat all the Phoenix players and I lost one soul twice, so my tournament fell apart.
Yeah, that's a
But
shame.
yeah, that's a tricky one to get right. But I would also recommend Niv if you think you got it right for the tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
think if you don't have anything else to add, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's me. That's me done as well, man.
Okay,
So yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and shout out to the Patreon. Thanks everyone for all your continued support. It means a lot to us. It means we can continue to give out content on a weekly basis like we do. So yeah, thank you very much.
yeah, same here for me. And this is the top
TacTalk.
the
Yeah.
TacTalk podcast signing off. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.